Shalom, how's everyone doing? Today's day 29 of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and we'll be learning Siman Seif. Okay, let's begin. Yizar lekanech esatzmo yafe. A person should be careful that when he goes to the bathroom and he wipes himself, he should wipe himself very well. Because even if he has a little tsoa in the hole, it is forbidden for him to say any manners of holiness. As we'll see later. A person should not wipe using his right hand. Because we use the right hand to wrap tefillin onto our left arm. And for the same reason, a person shouldn't wipe using the middle finger of his left hand. Because on that finger we wrap tefillin onto. A lefty, he should wipe with his left hand, shehu yamin shel kol adam, which is just the right hand of a normal person. Fine. So, where's the Kitzur coming from? That there's a problem with wiping with your right hand. So it's really a Gemara, right? It's a Gemara Maseches Brachos. But if you look in the Gemara there, the Gemara actually gives 5 reasons that a person should not wipe using his right hand. Okay. Reason number 1 is the reason of Rava. Rava says because the Torah was given with Hashem's right hand. Therefore, since the Torah was given with Hashem's right hand, it would be disrespectful for us to, after we use the bathroom, to wipe with our right hand. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is more of a practical reason. The Gemara says it's because shehu krova lapeh, that we use our right hand to eat food. So therefore, right, what do? We take food, we put it in our mouth. Our right hand is always going to be near our mouth. So if we use our right hand to wipe, what's going to happen? We're going to wipe with the right hand. There's still going to be tzoa on it. It's not going to be healthy. Therefore, practically, it won't be healthy to wipe with our right hand. Therefore, one should wipe with his left hand. That's reason number 2. Reason number 3, so the Kitzur quoted, is that we use the right hand to wrap tefillin onto our left arm, so it would not be respectful to wipe with our right hand. Reason number 4, the Gemara says is mipnei she'mara ba taimei Torah. If you look in Rashi there says it used to be that when a guy would get up to read from the Torah, right, he would say a special tune, he would say the trup. He wouldn't know what the trup was, so there would be a guy who was motioning specifically with his right hand what the trup was, what the tune was. Therefore, once again, it would not be respectful to use our right hand to wipe. Number 5 is because we write with our right hand, seemingly saying that since we use our right hand to write various things of Kedusha, Svarim, Tefillin, Mezuzahs, therefore we're not be respectful to wipe with our right hand. If you look in Siman Gimel of the Shulchan Aruch, if you look at the Nosekilim, it brings down nafkamina between these different reasons, right? One nafkamina is obviously what the Kitzur says, a lefty, right? If you think about most of these reasons, it would turn out that a lefty should use his right hand, right? Let's think about the reasons, right? Let's think about the tefillin reason, right? That we put tefillin using our right hand, but a lefty uses tefillin. He puts on tefillin using his left hand, right? He who wears tefillin on the other hand. So therefore, he probably also wipe with the other hand, right? The other reason of eating food, right? A lefty eats with his left hand. Therefore, he should wipe with his right hand, not like a normal person. However, the only questionable thing would be the first reason we said. The first reason that the Gemara quoted was that the Torah was given with the right hand. Right, that's talking about Hashem's right hand. Therefore, maybe it actually shouldn't make a difference between a lefty and a righty. But if you look at the Mishbura says, halacha, we hold that a lefty, right, like the Kitzur says, that a lefty uses a right hand of a normal person, which is considered his left hand, to wipe. Okay, that's number 1. Another nafkamina, Shari Tshuva talks about is women, right? So all these reasons of the Gemara really should apply to women, right? Women eat with the right hand, right? The Torah was given with the right hand. That should apply to women. The only thing that doesn't is the opinion that the Kitzur says about the tefillin. Right? Since women don't wear tefillin, maybe they could wipe with their right hand. But looking at the Shari Tshuva says no, not machalik, that also women wipe with their left hand. But how practical is this discussion? Why do I say how practical is this discussion? Because if you look in the Shari Tshuva holds that this whole halacha of not wiping with the right hand only applies to somebody who wipes bare hand, without like a cloth, without like toilet paper. And he explains, or he doesn't explain, but what the pshat would be is because, the whole problem is that it's disrespectful for you to get soa on your right hand, for the reasons listed in the Gemara. It's just not right for you to get soa on your hand, right? We have to give chashivas to our right hand for these various reasons. It wouldn't be right to get soa on it. But if you're using toilet paper, you're not going to get soa on your hands, right? You're not really going to get soa on your hands. Therefore, he says that this halacha actually does not apply. Who else agrees with this? Ishla Rami Bachach agrees with it. That if you're using, if you're not wiping with your bare hand, really there's no difference what hand you use to wipe. And the Gemara is talking about, when the Gemara says it's also to wipe with the right hand, that's only talking about somebody who wipes without anything. Who strongly disagrees with this? Actually, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch has notes in the back. He doesn't have that many notes, but he has a note on this. And he says as follows, right? He quotes Shulchan Aruch Rav that this whole halacha only applies if you're wiping without any toilet paper. And he says, Lo yadati min aleha. I don't know where the Shulchan Aruch Rav is getting this from. Alright, Pashtus is, even if you are wiping with toilet paper, this halacha still applies. And he has a proof to this. He says, if you look in Chazal, you look in the Gemara, it's very clear that in the times of the Gemara, they wiped not with their bare hands, right? There's a Gemara Maseches Shabbos, he quotes, Daf Pei Aleph, right? There's a Gemara there that talks about, stones are muksa on Shabbos. But the Gemara there talks about that you can move stones in order to wipe yourself on Shabbos, right after you use the bathroom. Even though they're usually muksa, but you can move various stones to wipe yourself after you use the bathroom. But what does the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch prove from that Gemara? That, it was commonplace in the times of Chazal to actually not wipe with their bare hands. It was common to wipe with something else, with stones, right? So if this halacha only applies to somebody who wipes without just barehanded, then the Gemara should have mentioned that, right? Since it was commonplace in the Gemara to wipe not barehanded, the Gemara should have mentioned, when it mentioned the ister to wipe with the right hand, that it really doesn't apply that much, because it only applies if you wipe without anything. So that's why the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch just rejects the sheet of the Shulchan Aruch Rav. But there are really two ways to answer this question of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Right? Kitzur Shulchan Aruch has this question that we see from the times of the Gemara, they would wipe not using their bare hands. So how can the Shulchan Aruch Rav say it only applies if you're wiping with your bare hands? So Ishal Rabbi Bashach gives an answer, and he says it is not clear from the times of the Gemara that they would wipe not with their bare hands. Right? There's a Gemara Maseches Shabbos that talks about wiping with stones. That's talking about some people who are like, very particular. They don't want to get soa on their hands, right? Those people, they're allowed to, move the stones on Shabbos, to wipe themselves. But the normal person, throughout the week, and on Shabbos, would wipe with their bare hands. And that's what the Gemara is talking about when it says you can't wipe with your right hand. That's just what it's talking about. So there's no proof in the Gemara that it was commonplace to wipe using like a stone or anything. And actually they would wipe barehanded, and that's why the Gemara gives this whole halacha that you can't wipe with your right hand. That's one approach. The Tzitz Eliezer has a different approach, and he says, no, it was commonplace back in the times of the Gemara that they would wipe with stones. They would. Okay, so then we still have the question. Well, the Gemara should have mentioned that when it's saying this, or of wiping with the right hand. So he says no. Because, true, there's a halacha when you wipe with stones, l'kuli alma, you cannot wipe with your right hand. Because when you're wiping with a stone, you're probably going to get soa on your hands. It's not going to be so good. You're probably going to get soa on your hands. Therefore, there is still this halacha that you can't wipe with the right hand, even if you're using a stone, because you're probably going to get soa on it. However, if you're using toilet paper, chances are you're not going to get soa on your hands. So therefore, in the times of the Gemara, they didn't use toilet paper. Therefore, in the times of the Gemara, they had this halacha, you can't wipe with the right hands, but we use toilet paper, so there should be no problem. So the question is, what do we hold? What's the maskana? Alright, so we have either the Shulchan Aruch Rav, who says that this whole halacha really doesn't apply so much because we use toilet paper, but then obviously we have the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, who's very clear that this halacha applies even if one is using toilet paper. So people say different things. The Tzitz Eliezer I quoted at the end of the tshuva, he writes, he says he thinks we should paskin like the Shulchan Aruch, and he even says, lecharchila, you're supposed to wipe with the right hand. What does he say? He says that, right, as we saw in the beginning of the Seif that we learned, that there's a big hakpada that, that place that the tzoa comes out of should be clean. It should be clean. And he writes, how are you going to make sure it's clean? It's probably easier to use your right hand, right? That's the stronger hand, right? So he says actually it would be lecharchila, to use your right hand because you're going to make sure it's clean. And it seems like it's only going to be a b'diavad to use your left hand. So he kind of like flips the Gemara. He says the Gemara says you shouldn't use your right hand, but Tzitz says no, you actually should. Now that we have toilet paper, so there's no issue. Okay, do we hold like that? It's unclear. But I'll tell you, Rav Zilberstein, he has a shaila, and somebody asked him about like this question about wiping with the right hand, and it seems to be from his maskana is that seemingly you should wipe with the left hand, like what the Gemara says to do. But if there's even a slight chashash that you're not going to do a good job cleaning yourself, or it's going to take longer and it's going to lead to bittul Torah, then we could rely on the shita that the whole halacha does not apply if one is using toilet paper. Okay, shkoyach.